What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Weekly Cheese. It's the Week 12 recap. The Packers dominate the LA Rams at Lambeau Field, 36-28. So much to get into. I mean, the offense was dog-walking that Rams defense up and down the field. Aaron Donald who? Jalen Ramsey who? I mean, the Packers offense was doing whatever they wanted. And on the defensive side of the ball, from the first quarter all the way through the final seconds of the game, they were playing some hard-nosed, smash-mouth football. And I couldn't be more pumped. So much to get into. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Weekly Cheese.
Super Bowl! 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 The Green Bay Packers! Super Bowl!
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to The Weekly Cheese. I'm your host, Joe Ivan. Here with me in studio is Chris. Chris, how are you?
Joe, I'm doing fantastic after an unreal Packers W. How are you doing?
I mean, on Mondays like this, you can't get the smile off my face. You could slap someone I care about deeply right in front of me, and I probably won't smile. I'll get angry, but I won't smile because the Packers took care of business, and nothing could block my shine today. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's only right we have a Monday like this after a Monday like last Monday. I mean, I could see it coming from a mile away, no?
Yeah, I could, and I was obviously feeling optimistic going into the game. Not going to lie, as everyone probably knows that heard the pregame preview, I thought it was going to be a little closer. I didn't think it was going to be as lopsided as it felt and as it ultimately ended up being, but can't say I'm surprised that it was. This Packers team is legit. They are special. And right now, after 12 weeks going into the bye, I'd like to believe that they are the NFC favorites.
Yeah, man, I wasn't surprised actually at all. I tend to be slightly more optimistic than you, but I don't know. Now that I'm, in the weeds, as they say, a little more with the Packers, I see guys, that have to stepping up. I understand the roles they have to fill, and they're filling them exactly how they need to, and the Packers are good. They're on a roll right now.
They really are, and it's a testament to the scouts. It's a testament to the front office. Goot, I'll give him his respects. He's put together a solid roster here, and it's a testament to more than anyone else. I have to say it's a testament to Coach LaFleur and the whole entire coaching staff. I mean, they have cultivated a next man up mentality in this team that is working like a charm. Whatever they have going on in terms of getting these younger and more inexperienced players ready for primetime action like that, they're doing a great job because people are stepping up left and right for this Packers team.
Yeah, Coach LaFleur moves on to 9-0 after a loss, too. That's an unreal stat. The guy just wins.
He just wins. I believe he's off to the greatest start in head coaching history, if I'm not mistaken.
It's insane. You would think he's been coaching for years, and it's like, what, his third year?
It's his third season.
Third season
and,
as a head coach.
9 losses, I believe, in the regular season.
That's unreal.
So, good things are happening in Packer Nation. I hope everyone out there is having as good of a Monday as we are here at the Weekly Cheese Studios. And another reason why this Monday has been so special and so exciting for me is not only did the Packers dominate the LA Rams, yes they did, I'll say it again, but I received my Packers share today in the mail, and I could not be happier about that either. So good things all around right now for Packer Nation, and another extremely good thing is with that win on Sunday, the Packers completed the full sweep of the NFC West. The NFC West is considered the most competent and powerful division in the NFC, and the Green Bay Packers dismantled each and every single one of those teams with relative ease, if I do say so myself. They've advanced their record to 9-3, and they are heading in to a much-needed Week 13 bye. I don't know if the bye could have came at a better time.
No,
in
the
all
defense
honesty.
just came off of weeks of elite quarterbacks that they had to face, and they suppressed them, I would say, for the most part. They did what they had to do. They should go relax heavily now.
They did what they had to do, and if not for Aaron Rodgers missing that Chiefs game, I believe they would have won that one as well. But right now, they're in a perfect position, and it's time for every single one of them, including the equipment managers and everyone involved, to enjoy their week off, rest up, heal up, and get ready for this home stretch because we pick right up with the Chicago Bears after the bye.
Boo!
And right after that, it's the home stretch. It's the Bears. We got our last two AFC opponents of the year with the Browns and the Ravens. Then we finish it up with two divisional opponents. We got Vikings, Lions. So the home stretch is upon us, and let's just use this week as a mental reset as well here at the Weekly Cheese. And for everyone out there living their day-to-day lives throughout the week, reset this week, and let's come back ready for postseason football. But for right now, let's break down Sunday's game. On both sides of the ball, the Packers played tough, hard-nosed football and executed the game plan to near perfection. Of course, there's going to be a mistake here and there, but for the most part, the game plan seemed to be perfectly executed. On the offensive side of the ball, the O-line held up nicely. The Packers were able to move the ball around wherever they wanted to. They had a nice balance between the run attack and the passing attack, and this allowed the Packers to once again dominate the time of possession, just like they did against Seattle 2 weeks ago. The Green Bay Packers controlled the ball for nearly 20 more minutes than the LA Rams did. It was 39 minutes to 21 minutes time of possession. And when the Packers are doing that, they're unstoppable. If the Packers could have a 20-minute advantage in time of possession every single game, they will not lose. It's the recipe for when they do end up losing a game, like they have to San Fran in the past, or the Buccaneers last regular season, when they're losing games and getting blown out of games. The Saints, week 1, they're getting dominated in the time of possession. The offense can't stay on the field. The defense is getting tired. But when they flip the script and they could do that to other teams, they're unbeatable. And that was proven on Sunday with the walloping they delivered.
It was a walloping
to Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams.
Walloping. I think it's the extra couple yards that, like, A.J. Dillon especially can pick up on the run. You know, first and second down, they get 5 or 6 instead of 2 or 3 or 7 or 8. It's crazy.
And when they're doing that, and it's just proof that they're going on slow, methodical drives. They're not having 4 or 5 play drives where they're getting a huge breakout play. They're driving for 15, 16 plays. I mean, even when they're not coming away with points. Yesterday, on their first offensive drive of the game, it was the longest drive in the NFL this season that ended in a punt.
Oh, my God.
It was the most plays ran this season, resulting in a punt. So, like, even when they're not coming away with points,
they're sucking up the
they're
clock.
sucking up the clock, and they're pinning the other opposing teams in tough spots with Bajorquez's golden leg.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to touch on this later, but what a punt from Bajorquez.
What a punt. We'll definitely be getting into the special teams to round out the show at the end there. But Bajorquez, he's a weapon.
The way the ball landed, it like ran away from the guy. It left the guy chasing the ball on the ground. It was hilarious.
And it was awesome to see because that was another it was basically a double FU game for Joe Barry, who was on the Rams coaching staff the last 4 years, and Bajorquez, who they chose Hecker over. So it was nice to see both of those gentlemen come away with some nice play from both Joe Barry's defense and Bajorquez's leg. And on the defensive side of the ball, speaking of Joe Barry's defense, they were able to stop the run early and get after Matt Stafford. I mean, the pressure they were able to apply to Matt Stafford throughout the game generated game-changing turnovers. I mean, in both halves, including a game-sealing pick 6 in the third quarter. And, of course, a fumble in the first quarter. So the Packers' defense came ready to play. They heard the chirps after last week's performance against Minnesota. And Yeah, they had Rashawn Gary back, which is a huge bump in energy and morale. But, man, in all three phases, the Packers' defense was outstanding. And they deserve that top 5 overall ranking that they currently have. I believe right now, after yesterday, the Packers hold the 5th-ranked defense in the National Football League, which, more than anything else, puts a smile on my face and is a huge reason why this team is as special as it is. But let's break down the Packers' offense in a little more in-depth here. During the preview on Saturday, I stated that the most important aspect of Sunday's game and the biggest key to victory on Sunday would be how Green Bay's injury-riddled offensive line would handle the Rams' defensive line, which is considered to be, if not the best, one of the best in the league, and is spearheaded by none other than future Hall of Famer, perhaps best defensive end of all time, Aaron Donald. And a Packers offensive line without David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins really has no business taking on the Rams' defensive line. But fortunately for us, Yosh Nijman, Lucas Patrick, Royce Newman, John Runyon, and Billy Turner stepped it up, and they played about as good as we could have asked them to.
They imposed themselves on the best defensive line in the NFL.
They imposed themselves. They didn't always win their one-on-ones. There were a couple of hiccups here and there, but they kicked ass, and they set the tone.
And they were pissing Aaron Donald off with that double team. I don't even know who was double teaming him, but they were pissing him off.
They only gave up 1 sack. It resulted in a loss of no yards. It was when Aaron tried scrambling the pocket. Billy Turner didn't keep his block, and the guy was able to get him from behind. And if he didn't, Aaron was easily scrambling for a first down there. There was nothing but green grass ahead of him. But for the most part, they suppressed Aaron Donald. They suppressed Von Miller. And they didn't allow anyone on that Rams defensive line to impact the game in a significant way. And they, as you said, Chris, they visually frustrated them.
Yes, they did.
In the process. The interior trio of Runyon, Patrick, and Newman, they had their work cut out for them. Aaron Donald is no easy task for anyone. But they were able to come together and take him out of the game. He finished with just 3 solo tackles, not 1 tackle for a loss, and no sacks. And once again, just like last year in the divisional round, he could be seen performing a dirty maneuver onto one of our offensive linemen. Last year, in the divisional round game, he was injured, and he was getting his ass kicked by Elton Jenkins. And he grabbed him by the face mask and kind of got a little chippy with him. But it was understandable. It wasn't anything that made you, like, sick to your stomach or angry with Donald. It was just obvious that it was actually a respect thing that he showed Elton Jenkins by giving him that thing, because Elton Jenkins, as a second-year player, totally brought the heat to Aaron Donald in the playoffs and
visually frustrated him last year,
visually frustrated him. But what he did yesterday was disgusting, okay? He was getting his ass kicked by Lucas Patrick all game long, and he took his anger out in one of the most egregious ways imaginable. He vice gripped the man's esophagus.
Saw that. I actually saw that, and I was questioning.
Dude.
The ref was just watching it. The ref didn't have it. He couldn't have had a better.
The ref
like
had to
he was standing. I can't
jaws.
even speak about it because of.
Hold
Oh
on.
my God.
The ref had to get the jaws of life out of his utility belt to pry Donald's hand off of Lucas Patrick's neck. Like, the ref literally had to reach up there and remove the vice grip that he had around poor Lucas Patrick's esophagus. If you zoomed up, you could literally see Aaron Donald
his
with
hand
a
pinches
three-finger
in,
grip.
and then goes right for his Adam's apple.
Yeah.
Like that. Like his hand was wide, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my God, is he gonna choke him?" And as the slow motion continues, his hand shrinks
Yeah.
up like that and goes right in.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, "Holy cow!"
It was ridiculous, and he should have been flagged for an unnecessary roughness. He should have, in my opinion, been thrown out of the game. And I was making a joke to Mike. I was watching with him, and I said to him, imagine Lucas Patrick shows up to the press conference with like a neck brace on, and he ends up suing Aaron Donald for like a battery or something. Like,
Oh my God.
Like a civil lawsuit against Aaron Donald for strangling him in public.
He bruised his Adam's
Yeah,
apple
dude.
like this.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, and it was just proof of how physical the Packers' offensive line was playing. They forced this Rams team to have hissy fits every single time they come to town. And, I mean, man, it was awesome to see Aaron Donald have a reaction like that because it was just proof that interior trio, they played their ass off, and they did their job. And another man who we need to shout out specifically, Billy Turner. He did great on as the right tackle. He always does great. It's Billy Turner. And I don't want to go this segment without bringing him up because I'm highlighting the interior trio, and I'm about to praise Josh Nijman for his play as the left tackle. But before I do that, Billy Turner, you're a rock, man. But it's nothing new. Nothing new
Swaggiest
there.
man on the field always.
Nothing new there. We're used to seeing Billy Turner perform that way. But Josh Nijman, his 4th career start, played amazing. I mean, he started at left tackle because Ellen Jenkins went down, and he had to block Von Miller. He had to block Terrell Lewis. He had his hands full all game, and he played great. He allowed 5 pressures, but none of them were costly. If you take out the one play where Von Miller folded Aaron Rodgers like a book, but I believe there was a roughing the passer call, and Aaron was able to get the ball out of his hands. It was not a sack. I did not like seeing Aaron get hit like that. But outside of that play, Josh didn't allow any sacks, no QB hits outside of that one. And he could be seen doing the robot with A.J. Dillon in the end zone after A.J. Dillon scored the touchdown. After the game, his teammates, the coaches, they really could not have given Josh higher praise. Billy referred to him as the most explosive lineman on the team. And when he was asked if he was surprised by Josh's performance, he said not at all. Billy had a great quote regarding how the NFL treats everyone differently, and it simply is about when you get your opportunity and how you seize that opportunity. And in his 4 starts, Josh Nijman has proven that he could play in the NFL at a high level. And the fact that the Packers have such a deep offensive line is ridiculous.
It just seems like, not to make a joke of this, but it's like one guy goes down, another guy steps up, one guy goes down, another guy steps up. It's like, yeah.
That's how it's been all season long. And the Packers are fortunate enough to have an entire offensive line room that is filled with legit players. I mean, Lucas Patrick started every game at guard for the Packers last year. And then this year, he's not a starter at the beginning of the year. He's coming off the bench. Josh Myers goes down with an injury. Lucas Patrick has now started 6 games as center. Same thing goes for Josh Nijman. Injuries stack up. He starts 4 games at tackle this year. John Runyon wasn't Royce Newman. Like, these are all first-time starters, and they're playing excellent football. Yeah, LaFleur schemed it up in a way where Aaron was in the shotgun a lot. He wasn't taking massive drops. I believe his average drop back was like 4 yards or something like that yesterday. So the scheme had it so Aaron was getting the ball out of his hands quickly and not really in a position to get sacked all that often. But the offensive line did their job. 1 sack, no yards given up because of it. And like I said in the preview, they needed to play well for the Packers to win. They played well. The Packers won. It's that simple. Now, that's not to say that the Packers' offensive line played perfect. There's always room for improvement, obviously. For once, the offensive line did not do an extraordinary job blocking for the run, which really has been an issue for them all year long. With Elton Jenkins being out now, it was perhaps worse than it's been all year. But with that being said, the Packers still did a decent job at moving the rock on the ground. 32 carries as a team for 92 yards. Aaron Jones started the game and took 3 handoffs within the first 4 plays. However, after that, he only ran it 7 more times, and he finished the day with 10 carries for 23 yards. I really don't know why Aaron Jones played. I was confused when I saw him getting the start, and then when they gave him the ball 3 times in a row, basically, on the first drive of the game, I was shocked, and I was like, okay, well, perhaps he's good to go. But then, obviously, he didn't have the most productive game. 10 carries for 23 yards. Makes me wonder who decided to even let him go. If it was up to me, even after the game, I still think it would have been better off just letting Aaron Jones get the full 2 weeks rest with the bye. I mean, I don't know if LaFleur really thought we needed Aaron Jones because he thought we might lose, or who knows what happened, but I was very shocked to see him out there.
The word from Schefter, at least what he how he tweets out all those little injury things before the games and stuff like that.
Which we should all take with a grain of salt.
Considering
he's an NFL plant and a propagandist that no one should trust.
Yes.
Down with Schefter. Down with Schefter here on the Weekly Cheese. All right, continue. Sorry.
It basically was he was saying that Aaron Jones actively wanted to play. LaFleur was hesitant, but then so Aaron Jones probably really wanted to play. Took those 3 handoffs. And
I get that. Well, he played a bunch. I think he had 40 snaps or something like that. And of course, he's productive as a pass protector. He's great at picking up the block. But I don't know if it was worth letting him get hit. I don't know if it was worth risking re-aggravating his knee. I mean, he's such an important piece to the puzzle for this Packers offense, and he's suffered a sprained MCL numerous times in his career. And for 10 carries, 23 yards, I don't know if it was worth getting him out there. Again, you're probably right. He probably did want to play really bad, but if I was LaFleur, I would have made an executive decision to keep him sidelined. But that's just me. Obviously, I don't know what was going on in there. I don't know how Aaron Jones was truly feeling and all that. But whatever. He played 10 for 23. It is what it is. It wasn't the most productive day for him, but that's because the run blocking really wasn't great. The Packers couldn't get any of their off-tackle stuff going all game long. I mean, Aaron Jones is best when he's running off the tackle and getting to the outside, and that was something that simply was not happening with the way the Packers were run blocking. And he had a tough time slashing through the holes on the inside. When he runs interior and he gets a big gain on the inside, it's usually because he's hitting a hole hard and making a nice cut. And those holes just weren't there to be slashed. So it was obvious pretty early on that we needed to just roll out Quadzilla and allow him to go to work and beat up the Rams a little bit. And that's exactly what happened. A.J. Dillon, 20 carries, 69 yards, which is good for 3.5 per carry. Not the best, most dominant day on the stat sheet when you look at it. But for A.J. Dillon on Sunday, it was not about how many yards he accumulated. It was about how he accumulated those yards. And that is what was impressive. Quick stat for you, Chris, that really blew my mind when I saw it this morning. 61 of A.J. Dillon's 69 yards came after first contact, and he averaged over 3 yards after first contact per carry. That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's extraordinary.
But if you watch him play, it's honestly not even that surprising because I was telling you, he takes that first hit and then he winds up getting spun around most of the time, and then he just scurries backwards on his feet for somehow
and still doesn't go down.
5 or 6 yards every time.
Hit the turf 3 times.
It's he has to pick before the gravity allows him to go to the ground. He has to pick up an additional at least 2 yards.
He's unstoppable. There was a play in that game where Aaron Donald hit him a yard behind the line of scrimmage, and he carried Aaron Donald and a pile of 2 or 3 other guys for a 4-yard gain, and he still didn't get tackled. The refs blew it dead. He didn't go down, and then he escaped from that pile. Aaron Donald was on the ground trying to tackle him, and he just let out a ferocious roar to the crowd. I mean, A.J. Dillon is unreal. And I was thinking about this yesterday. I was thinking about it a couple weeks ago when we were in Lambeau. But when he got drafted, I could not have been more negative. And I feel bad about it because
Well, you had Jamal Williams at the time.
we had Jamal Williams at the time, but on top of that, it came the pick immediately after the Jordan Love situation, and as soon as that happened the day before, I was already in such a horrible mood where it didn't even matter who the Packers picked on day 2. I was going to hate them, like I was in such a bad place mentally surrounding the whole ordeal that I did not appreciate the pick at the time, but I apologize for that on record right now. And A.J. Dillon is quickly becoming one of my favorite Green Bay Packers, not just on this team, but that I've ever watched.
Wow.
Because this guy he runs so hard.
Hard, yeah.
He runs so hard. And I love to see it. And it's unreal how hard he runs. And I got a yellow A.J. Dillon jersey coming in the mail right now from DH Gate. And I couldn't be more pumped about it.
Nice. Yeah, it made me like verbally laugh out loud when he caught that swing pass, and then he made like that enormous juke. He like all of his weight was on his right, and then he kind of just like stepped right beside Jay. It looked so slow. I'm sure in real time it was much faster, but it looked so slow. It was so funny.
He's just unreal, and the Packers really could not be luckier to have A.J. Dillon, especially if Aaron Jones isn't at 100%. I mean, we have a legitimate starter as our second running back, and that's a luxury not many NFL teams can say they have. And once again, A.J. Dillon made a huge impact in the passing game. 5 receptions, 21 yards, and a touchdown. So he is not just a 3 yards in a cloud of dust type running back. He is way more than that. He is a complete football player. And what's that? 5 weeks in a row now, he has multiple catches out of the backfield for either a touchdown or 40 yards. I mean, he's either running for 40 yards after the catch or he's scoring a quick little tutty in the air. It's really nice to see. Again, he is quickly climbing my all-time favorite Packer list at rapid speed. And, I mean, couldn't be happier that number 28 is playing for the green and gold. And the Green Bay Packers passing attack was solid all day. The entire passing game. Aaron proved again that a fractured toe and missing a week of practice is not enough to slow him down whatsoever.
Quick sidebar on that fractured toe. I think out of our two analysis, I was pretty accurate.
I think you were right.
I think I was right.
I know. I think you were right down to the sauna.
I think I was right.
Yeah, I think it was a sauna injury.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, just based off, evidence, what Pat McAfee had sucked out of him on his show, but...
And then Aaron having to expose his toe to national airways.
I know. He was so ashamed. Can you believe that? America shamed him into showing his toe.
I know. It's
what
crazy.
are you doing? Just say my toe's fractured.
Yeah. I'm not getting into all that. We're not here to talk
but yeah,
about
quick little tidbit.
Aaron's
I think he actually
relationship
did
with the
happen to
media.
just catch a stub that fractured the toe, chipped the nail, and now he's devastated.
I think you have a point there with the toe and the fracture on a jam. That's the only explanation for what it could be. But again, it is not slowing the man down. He finished the game 28 for 45, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a rushing touchdown. Absolutely humiliated Jalen Ramsey with the pump fake and pranced into the end zone for his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. It wasn't the most efficient day from Aaron Rodgers, but he did a great job at navigating the collapsing pocket and getting the ball out quickly and spreading it all around the yard. I did praise the offensive line just a couple minutes ago, and they played great. But Aaron, the pocket was collapsing on him quite a bit. I believe the Rams had upwards of 15 hurries. So there were numerous times throughout the game where Aaron really had to evade that pocket and make something happen. And even with the toe, he was able to do so with ease. And yeah, he got the ball around. He got it around the yard and spread it out to nearly every single receiving option he had at his disposal. Before we move on to the receivers and the plays they were making, Aaron is getting, I guess you call it a second opinion or a third look at his toe today. I don't know, Chris, if you could look it up for me real quick. I don't know if there's any news broke about it yet, but he is going to be making a decision on his toe and whether or not he needs to get a procedure done on it this bye week.
I don't know if you saw in that play, was it Aaron Donald that took him down from behind or whatever? His foot like jammed straight on, like toes down into the turf. So maybe that like messed it up even worse. So now he's like considering probably. I don't know.
It could. He did say
it could have had nothing to do with it either.
He did say he didn't need a second shot at halftime, which is good. He did need one against the Vikings, but we are awaiting news on whether or not he's going to undergo a procedure during the bye week. I'm not sure if it released yet.
No, the latest update is from Florio on Yahoo Sports, and it's just that he's still going to make his 2 hours ago. He was going to make his decision.
So we're still waiting his decision. Hopefully.
Oh, his decision would be tomorrow morning, or so his toe surgery would be tomorrow morning. So the decision has to, I guess, come out today or
it's going to be made today. Regardless of what comes out, I mean, Aaron did say 2 weeks ago that the only thing he could guarantee everyone is that he's not missing time. That missing games is not an option for him, and I'm going to take his word for that. So if he does or doesn't get a procedure, who knows? But if he does get a procedure, I'm hoping it's something that is minor and only requires a couple days recovery time, because I do not want him to miss any time, and if we take him at what he said 2 weeks ago, he will not be missing any time. So let's hope for the best there as far as Aaron's toe goes. And hey, this is a much-needed bye week. Say it once, say it 1,000 times. This team is hurt, and they need to heal up, and this is the week that they are able to do so. But once again, almost every single available pass catcher for the Packers made a big play for the offense. Devontae, 8 receptions, 104 yards, past the 1,000-yard marker for the season. Absolutely dominated Jalen Ramsey once again. When being covered by Ramsey, Devontae was 5 for 5, 41 yards. On Instagram, I posted a picture last night of it was a horrible Photoshop edit. That's what kind of made it funny to me, but it was a picture of a father holding a baby son, and Devontae was the dad, and Jalen Ramsey was the kid. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, the discussion about, Jalen versus Devontae, blah, 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 that has to stop. I mean, there's just a track record of Devontae physically dominating. There's no other word for it. I mean, at least 5 or 6 times last night, just bounces or flies right off Devontae, but away he goes.
Yeah, he obviously was exposed yesterday, not just by Devontae, who, caught 5 balls on 5 targets when being guarded by Ramsey, one of which occurring through an illegal hands-to-the-face penalty by the man. But he was humiliated by the entire offense. I mean, no matter who he got matched up with, when he was targeted, they made the reception. Aaron was 7 for 7 when throwing at him. And if we end up playing the Rams again, I don't want to hear one headline regarding the Jalen Ramsey-Devontae Adams matchup. I said it on the preview that I don't really think that's a real matchup. And lo and behold, Devontae proved that it's not. Devontae is the best receiver in the league. Randall Cobb, 4 receptions for 95 yards and a touchdown. He did muff the punt in the second quarter, which was basically drove a stake right through my heart. I couldn't believe what I was watching. But he responded like the true veteran that Randall Cobb is on the very next drive for the Packers offense. He started the drive off by having a catch and run for 27 yards up the left sideline. And then he finished the drive off with an amazing 7-yard touchdown catch in traffic, perfectly placed ball by Aaron Rodgers. And once again, Randall Cobb proves he should have never gone anywhere. The man is a Packer. He should have always been a Packer. And I'm glad he's going to finish a Packer. Unfortunately, he would not return in the second half. He hurt his groin. But hopefully it's nothing too serious, and he's healed up and ready to go after the bye. And Randall Cobb could continue with this great 2021 season that he is putting together for himself. MVS continuing to get back on track. 4 catches, 50 yards. He ran a great post corner route for a first down on 2nd and 14. He took it for 28 yards. That play brings up the Stunat of the week, just a quick Stunat of the week, because this man, I don't know how many times someone could possibly win Stunat of the week, but that is Troy Aikman. For some reason, this guy cannot seem to give the Packers credit for anything, even when MVS runs a beautiful post corner route and beats his man for 28 yards, saving a drive that was started with a 1st and 22 after Lucas Patrick had the illegal block in the back. A dead drive that was saved because MVS's beautiful route running. Got totally discredited by Troy Aikman. He called it a blown coverage. I didn't know when every time a defensive back gets beat, it's a blown coverage. I didn't know that, but whatever. Stunat of the week, Troy Aikman, you suck, bud. Moving on. Alan Lazard, 2 catches, 13 yards. He was targeted 6 times. A couple of those missed connections with Aaron were not Alan Lazard's fault. They were forced throws. He was in a tough spot. There was really no chance of him coming down with them. But with that being said, he did have 2 drops, and he could have had an easy touchdown if he just extended his hands there. Aaron kind of just looked like he overthrew him. But needless to say, he was forcing the ball into Lazard over the past couple weeks, and Lazard has not been coming down with them. He needs to start making some grabs on those 50-50 balls.
He just needs a couple catches, I feel like, in a row, a big game, because he's kind of out of rhythm. He, rarely gets targeted. If he gets targets, they're getting forced in there. But he's that guy, though, you know what I mean? He's the guy last in the progression that's going to have to get the ball thrown in there.
Yeah, and he also, does so much for the Packers.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course.
The 2 for 13, it wasn't a great game from Lazard.
No.
And he needs to...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Once he has a big game, he'll get back on track. He's just kind of out of rhythm.
Yeah.
2 targets,
he's 6 targets.
6 targets, but
only 2 catches.
2 catches.
But 2 of them were drops. The other 2 were not his fault. Either way, over the last 3 weeks, Lazard has been dropping balls and getting the ball thrown to him in some tough spots. But it's Alan Lazard. He's does so much for this team that we don't really even rely on him to be that much of a receiving threat every single week. 2 for 13. He did his job. Josiah DeGuara also had 2 for 13. He came up big once again, this time on 4th and 2 to extend the drive. And this is the second week in a row Josiah DeGuara has made a significant contribution to this offense. And it's needed. With Tunyon being out for the year, Josiah DeGuara is going to need to catch some balls, and even if he's only catching 1 or 2 a week, if they're at crucial moments like they were last week against the Vikings and this week against the Rams, Josiah DeGuara is going to continue to earn the trust of everyone involved in the operation. And speaking of a man who is confirmed to have the trust of Aaron Rodgers, Equanimeous St. Brown, 1 catch for 7 yards. It was for a first down. He extended a drive. And, what can be said about EQ? Aaron Rodgers gave him such high praise after the game, and rightfully so. I said it last week. I'll say it again. He was cut from the team, but he was brought back. And this season, especially over the last 5 weeks, EQ is playing some good football, and he's making a play every single game that's of significance, a chain mover, a momentum shifter, what have you. EQ is playing good football right now. And couldn't be happier for him. This Packers offense is getting the ball rolling. They're still not great on 3rd down. They're still not great in the red zone, and they're still leaving points out there. But with that being said, they played good on Sunday, and they scored 38 and could have had upwards of 45.
They have the potential to be the highest scoring team in the league, but there's just certain things. They gave me a heart attack twice in the red zone yesterday.
3rd down in the red zone.
Yeah.
Those are the areas that they need to clean up. You'll hear it from the guys at top. First and foremost, Aaron and LaFleur will reiterate it. 3rd down and in the red zone, it's got to get cleaned up. But as of right now, especially with this way this defense is playing, the Packers offense is playing some good football. Let's talk about this defense because, God, do I love this Packers defense. My goodness, they are so badass. On Sunday, the Packers defense dominated the Los Angeles Rams. They stopped the run early and never allowed it to get going. The Rams ran 20 times for just 68 yards, and the Packers defense did a great job at getting off the field on third down. On top of all that, the pass rush was active and forced turnovers by getting to Stafford and forcing him to throw inaccurate and errant passers. I said in the preview that they need to force him to turn into gunslinger Stafford, and that's exactly what they did. Along the defensive line, Kenny Clark played over 80% of the snaps for the 10th time this season. There were many times where he was the only interior lineman on the field. And he had another monstrous game. 6 tackles, 3 pressures, a sack, and another QB hit on top of that. And man, Kenny Clark is
a beast.
He is playing at an all-pro level. In my opinion, he's the best nose guard in football right now. And when I see him hounding quarterbacks, like when he sacked Stafford there on that play, about a half second to a second before he got to Stafford, you could see him tracing him down. And I was just thinking to myself, how scary it must be to be Matt Stafford in that moment, because you feel Kenny
yeah, you
Clark.
feel the ground shaking, you hear his breath,
and within a
behind
second, he closes in on you and just tackles you from behind, plants you in the turf. The guy's a beast. He requires so much attention, and he has been a menace in the pass rush all year long. On Sunday, the majority of the pass rush came from Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary, and we'll get into Rashawn in a second. But Kenny Clark, another phenomenal performance. And I can't wait to get his jersey coming in the mail from DH Gate either. I could not be more ready. Kingsley Keke and Dean Lowry lined up next to Kenny when the Packers did go to that standard 4-2 formation. And they combined for 5 pressures. They didn't have a great game. They weren't making splash plays, but 5 pressures from those two guys, and with the time they were out there, and productive. They were productive. And Slayton and Lancaster, they played a reserve role, playing 11 snaps total. But on the interior of the line, the man of the game was none other than Kenny Clark. The man was just a beast. And before we move on to the edge rushers, as we talk about Tyler Lancaster here, I do want to bring up something that Chris just informed me of as we were sitting down to do this podcast, and that is that Tyler Lancaster is on Cameo.
Well, while I was, just sitting here also doing some research, there's somebody you also would be pleasantly surprised is on Cameo.
No. Oh, AJ. Well, I think I knew Dylan was on Cameo, and that makes more sense to me.
His price is on here. Lancaster's is not.
Well, that's because is AJ Dillon still accepting?
Yes, he
well,
is.
Well, see, that's a huge difference. Lancaster shut down the Cameo for football season because he shuts out all the noise, He shuts out all the noise, Lancaster. And he's all football all the time during the season. Oh, in there. So it seems
I think we
all
would
the
be.
Packers are on
Yeah,
Cameo.
let me continue to do some research here. We might be. Oh my God, the whole team might be on here.
Well, as Chris figures out who from the Packers are on Cameo, because it does seem
I'm
good
really just
amount of them
looking
are.
for who's not on the Packers or who's not on Cameo.
The point I was trying to make is, as soon as the season's over, I am spending the money to get a Tyler Lancaster Cameo. I don't care what the price is. There's no price too high to get a cameo from Lancaster himself. And now Chris has just shown me Mason Crosby also has a cameo. We're not going to get into cameo right now because obviously there's a whole slew of green and gold on there. But without a doubt, I will be purchasing a Tyler Lancaster cameo as soon as the price gets relisted onto the website. Pushing on. Off the edge, Rashawn Gary was back, and he was in full force. He didn't get the full snap count like we're accustomed to seeing him out there. Only played 33 snaps, but that's a good chunk. Just 2 weeks removed from that gnarly elbow injury, and his impact could not have been greater. From the first quarter, on the Rams' second offensive drive of the game, the second snap of the drive. Rashawn Gary comes in, fighting through Andrew Whitworth, being held and all, and comes away with a strip sack. Gets fumbled recovered by Preston Smith, and set the Packers up with excellent field position.
It set the tone for the entire game, really.
Set the tone for the entire game, and he finished the game with 4 pressures. Preston, 5 pressures. 9 pressures combined from the primary edge rushers, and they were wreaking havoc all game long. And my goodness, I said on the pregame preview, keep an eye out for the Rashawn Gary Whitworth matchup, and boy, was that matchup exploited. Andrew Whitworth might be having a good season overall in terms of his pass protection, but Rashawn Gary certainly has his number because he was only called for the 1 holding, but I think I picked up on 4 or 5
probably held him every
separate
play.
holds.
He was
Yeah.
blowing by.
Yeah, Whitworth had no business.
No business. The whole line really had no business. I mean, Preston was in the backfield every single
Every
play as
play.
well. I mean, that take carries over from, at least the Seattle game. He's been in the backfield every play
Preston
for the
Smith
most part.
this season has been a man on a mission. Again, after he had to restructure his contract to stay with the team this offseason, he had to take a pretty big pay cut. Preston Smith is incentivized heavily to have a good season, and he's been playing lights out all year long. I mean, the guy, he's playing great football. Preston's playing great football. And, hey, if the rumors are true and Zadarius Smith is going to be back out there
He was on the
soon-
sideline yesterday. I don't know if he was on the
was.
sideline for the other games, but I saw him there.
Yeah, I saw him on the sideline too, and that is a good sign. He was jumping up and down. He seemed to be in good spirits. And if and when he comes back, this Packers pass rush is going to be the best in the league because as of right now, they're wreaking havoc with the way Kenny's playing. Add a Zadarius Smith in there, and my goodness, this defense is going to be unstoppable. The inside linebackers, they had another
Chris
good
Barnes
game.
played well.
Chris Barnes played great.
Well.
Devondre Campbell, he had a down game when you compare it to what we're used to seeing out of the guy. Just 4 tackles, and he allowed 2 completions for 20 yards. But on a day where Devondre is going to have a little bit of a down game, thank goodness Chris Barnes played lights out. I mean, led the team with 9 tackles, did a decent job covering. I mean, he was matched up with Cooper Kupp a couple times there in the zone, and he even broke up a pass that was intended for Cooper Kupp. So that's good because Barnes, I mean, he's notoriously a poor coverage guy. That's his weakest aspect of his game. But he played good on Sunday, and he forced a fumble on special teams that got the Packers the ball back with great field position in the third quarter and allowed them to re-extend that lead to 13 late in the game there. And enough can't be said about the way the Packers' front 7 as a whole has played all season long. Devondre Campbell's been a savior at that middle linebacker position. Chris Barnes has some consistency issues, but for the most part has taken a step up in his play this season. And the defensive line, I mean, Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry, Rashawn Gary, and Preston Smith. Those guys have been difference makers for this Packers team, and they're a huge reason why the secondary has been playing so well, and this Packers defense is ranked 5th in the league. And a week after getting toasted by Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, the Packers secondary had a great game. And their lives were made easy due to the pressure and havoc the front 7 was creating. But enough can't be said about the way they were playing on an individual level as well. Eric Stokes, he was targeted 9 times on the game, allowed just 3 completions for 20 yards, only 4 yards after the catch, and 2 pass breakups. One thing I'll say about Eric Stokes is he needs to start turning around a little bit and trying to make a play on the ball. A couple times this year and over the last 2 weeks especially, he's kind of just making a play with his back turned.
He's hand fighting.
He's hand fighting and just seems like he has no clue where the ball is.
Is that the style now, though? Do you think he knows where the ball? I don't know.
No, it seems like he doesn't know where the ball is.
Really?
And it seems like he's getting lucky that the ball is
So you think he's just catching up to the receiver by the time the ball gets there?
Yeah, and he could be called for a pass interference sometime soon here if he doesn't turn around
Little
all the way.
sidebar: the underthrow pass interference call is like gone way up this year in the NFL. Like I don't know if they're doing it on purpose to the quarterbacks, where you know how like they underthrow it and then the receiver tries to come back for it a little bit, but the cornerback's right there, so they get I forget which game. I think it was the Colts game that happened like 3 times.
Yeah, and I know that the Cowboys fans were up in arms because of it after Thanksgiving.
Exactly. So that's got to stop happening because that will start happening.
Yeah, but like even in this game, Stokes got extremely lucky on that flea flicker, on that play where Cooper Kupp threw the touchdown pass to Van Jefferson. Stokes he was completely turned around facing the other way, and to the ball to Odell down the right sideline late in that game. It was an incomplete pass, and I believe Stokes was credited for the PBU. But if that ball was thrown a little shorter, Odell could have caught that ball. Instead, it was overthrown a little, and Stokes got a hand on it, but he didn't turn around at all, and that could have been also a costly play. So Stokes, some rookie mistakes here and there, but a solid game, only allowing 3 completions for 20 yards and 4 yards after catch. So good for Stokes, blocking down that side of the field. And Rasul Douglas, who I am now going to call the savior, had a fantastic game. I mean, Rasul Douglas looked like a Hall of Fame cornerback out there on Sunday. He did have that one, what I'll say, blown coverage. I'll call that one a blown coverage, Troy Aikman, on Odell Beckham when Odell scored that touchdown. But outside of that play, Rasul Douglas was phenomenal. Targeted 10 times, only allowed 3 catches, and he was the highest graded Packers defender on the day. 6 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and of course, a pick 6. An epic pick 6 that I believe received the Larrivee dagger in the third quarter.
Really?
So it was the game-sealing interception, the game-sealing play, and Rasul Douglas scored his first touchdown of his career. And it couldn't have came at a bigger time. I mean, my God, how good is this man playing? He's playing out of his mind. His confidence is palpable, and he is the savior. When Jair Alexander went down with that injury, the Packers could have been in trouble, especially with Kevin King. Obviously, can't stay on the field for whatever reason.
They would have a whole hole on that side of the defense.
And Isaac Yadam, before Rasul Douglas got thrusted into action there against the Chicago Bears, I mean, he's been phenomenal. He's saved the game against the Cardinals with the pick in the end zone. He's been playing solid coverage all year long, rarely getting beat deep. He did it on Sunday, but he made up for it with 3 pass breakups and a pick 6. The man was phenomenal. And he truly is a savior because he saved this Packers season with the way he's playing. And as of right now, I mean, call me crazy, I think Rasul Douglas, the man acquired from the Arizona Cardinals practice squad earlier this year, is playing at a Pro Bowl level right now. He really is. He's playing great football, and this team would not be sitting at 9-3 if it were not for Rasul Douglas. And, yeah, good on him. Good for him. Just like Billy Turner said, I brought it up at the beginning of the show, the NFL treats everyone differently. And it's all about seizing the opportunities when you're presented them. Rasul Douglas was given an opportunity to start for a Super Bowl contending team, and he has done nothing but
seize
the opportunity. And it could not be better for this Packers team, and I could not be happier for Rasul Douglas. And, of course, the play from the 2 safeties was phenomenal, as always. I mean, they didn't have a crazy day on the stat sheet. They combined for just 4 tackles. But Darnell Savage and Adrian Amos are as consistent as they come. I believe Rex Ryan might have said something about him on the ESPN pregame or what have you. But the gist of it, people are starting to recognize that they're a luxury to have back there. They don't make mistakes. They're always in position. They're not getting beat constantly, and they're as sure as they come as safeties. And Adrian Amos may have had the defensive play of the season for this Packers defense on Sunday.
It was a sick play.
That stop on 4th and 1, amazing. He also fell on the onside kick Unfortunately, Darnell got hurt on that, which was BS. I don't know what that maniac with the long hair was doing.
I know.
But luckily, Darnell tweeted he's okay. And yeah, this safety duo is unreal. The secondary all season long has been playing great. And they have 12 interceptions to show for it, which is good for sixth best in the NFL. But with that being said, they've also been letting quarterbacks off the hook constantly
If they
this
could
year
just shore some of that up
by dropping
I mean, oh,
easy
my God.
interceptions. Russell Douglas, yeah, he had the pick 6 on Sunday, but he also dropped another easy interception opportunity basically immediately after his pick 6. He could have had 2 pick 6s if he just caught that one. Stokes, he had a shot at a pick 6 if he came down with that ball. And Darnell Savage, he dropped another interception this week. 3 last week against the Vikings, another one this week. Long story short is the Packers, they need to start taking advantage of these opportunities that they're getting to pick off the quarterbacks. So yeah, they have 12 on the season, but if they have capitalized on all of their opportunities, they'd be leading the league in interceptions. They'd have upwards of 20 this season. I think the Patriots are first right now with 19, but just in the last 2 weeks alone, if the Packers picked off every ball they could have, they'd have over 20 on the year. I mean, Darnell has left 4 out there over the last 2 weeks. And yeah, there's been around about 7 dropped interceptions over the last 2 games for this Packers defense. And they need to clean that up because it can be better. And hopefully it gets better. And we'll round out this episode. It was an ultimate great performance from the Packers defense. No complaints. 5th best defense in the league headed into the bye. And hopefully after the bye, we can start getting Jair back, perhaps get Za'Darius back. And, I mean, if we get those 2 guys back, 2 All-Pros back to this already extremely competent defense, this team is clearly the Super Bowl favorites. I mean, they're playing this good defense without 2 All-Pros. The best corner in the league is out, and they're playing this good. It's really got a smile on my face, ear to ear. But one aspect of this Packers team, and this is how we'll round out the episode, that isn't making me smile right now is the special teams. Obviously, week in and week out, it's the same conversation. The special teams is just not good in all phases. I mean, the return game is weak. Randall muffed the punt this week, but any given week, whether it's Malik Taylor, Mari Rodgers,
seems like whoever they throw
whoever's
back there has an issue with just receiving the damn punt.
Yeah, there really hasn't been a competent return man back there since Micah Hyde. That's the last guy I could remember returning kicks where I was confident every single time that no mistake was going to occur. But ever since then, it's just been – I'm on edge every single time the Packers have to return a punt or a kick, and that's not a good feeling. And on top of that, Mason Crosby is leading the league in missed kicks right now. He missed another one on Sunday, and he was flirting with that left upright all game. He could have legitimately missed 2 or 3 on Sunday. We're lucky he just missed 1, and I hate to see it. And as far as I'm concerned, all this talks of the Packers need to get a new kicker right now, need to get rid of Mason Crosby, all of that just needs to be silenced. That's not going to happen. The truth of the matter is Mason Crosby is our field goal kicker. He has been for 13 years. He's the leading scorer in Packers history. He's a Super Bowl champion. And unfortunately, he's our guy, at least for the rest of this season. He has a gold 5-star captain's patch on his jersey. He's been a captain of this team for over 5 seasons. And you can't just go cut Mason Crosby. I'm sorry. It's not like it's not like any other kicker in the NFL. It's really not. You can't just go cut Mason Crosby. So unfortunately, we live and die with his leg. And I'm okay with that. I have not turned faith. I am still a Mason Crosby believer. And I think he's going to use this bye week as a mental reset. And this final stretch of the season is going to be lights out for Mason Crosby. This bye week, he's going to meet with Wordle, that new long snapper, and Boho, and they're going to clean up the operation. And when they return, Mason Crosby will get back to being Mason Crosby. Mark my words. That aspect will be cleaned up after this bye. Mark it right now. But it wasn't all bad for the Packers special teams. They did force a turnover. Chris Barnes forced a fumble on a punt return for the Rams. But I don't know how much that was the Packers playing good special teams football, or if that was just because they were lucky enough to be facing off against the worst return man in the National Football League. I'll be surprised if that Koski guy has a job for much longer. Not only did he fumble that punt, but on the very next return, he dropped the ball out of midair and had to pick it up off the ground, proceeded to move 7 yards very timidly, and got planted into the ground. So, yeah, don't know if it was just great coverage by the Packers or luck that they were going up against that Koski guy who put the ball on the ground and fumbled it away in his 5th career punt return. Either way, the special teams has to clean up. Mo Drayton needs to get that unit playing better. And, of course, the field goal operation needs to get back to normal because right now it is not looking good. That's going to do it for this episode of the Weekly Cheese. As always, if you guys enjoy the content, please feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the video. Feel free to comment any thoughts you had while listening. And if you hate the content, hey, feel free to dislike the video and chirp me in the comments section. I'm just really trying to get some more interaction going on there. And also, hey, follow us on social media, on Instagram at The Weekly Cheese, on TikTok at theweeklycheese.podcast. You can find the podcast on Spotify at The Weekly Cheese. I hope you all listening enjoy the bye week. Keep an eye peeled. Something might be getting released from The Weekly Cheese during the bye week. Maybe a fun, non-season related Packer type episode. Maybe some lists or something. I don't know. We'll put together something fun next week for you. No preview coming this week. Obviously, the Packers are on the bye. But yeah, we'll be back next week, of course, to talk about the matchup with the Bears that the Packers will be having after the bye. Until then, as always, remember, the cheese stands alone. And yeah, hey, I'll talk to you all next week, everyone. Go Pack.
Come on!